Somebody once said patience is a virtue. I really don't like that guy because I've been very impatient waiting for college football season, but it is finally here.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, it's time for some game week prep, baby. It is. It really is.
Looking forward to this for so long. You know how long I've been looking forward to this? I'll tell you, since January.
I feel like that old woman on the Titanic. It's been 75 years, Anyway, should have had a video clip for that. I didn't know you were going to lead into it. So you have a great post on Bama Online where you are a contributor. Dare I say the contributor? No, you're not the contributor. You're a contributor. So I dare not say it. But you have a post on there talking about MTSU, Middle Tennessee State, who just happens to be Alabama's opponent this coming Saturday.
That's why I picked them to write about. If you want to know the inside baseball, how it works, per sources, that's our opponent. So I wrote up some stuff about them.
I really did. I loved the post. I really did because it had a lot. I mean, we're so geeked on Texas. I know Nick Saban isn't, but we are as fans. I mean, like that's all everybody I know is talking about. Of course, they want to get to the first game and have a lot of fun, yada, yada, yada. But Texas is the thing right now. So I think we do need to turn our attentions to Middle Tennessee State. And you give like this excellent breakdown. It's another reason for people to join On3 and Bama Online. I'm telling you, I'm getting nothing for promoting Bama Online. By the way, I want people to know that. I just really enjoy that site. So, Jimmy, sort of run down your breakdown of MTSU.
Yeah, I went over their season last year because they had a crazy season. I mean, if you're a big fan of college football, and I am, look, I know a lot of people listen to the show, all they care about is Alabama and the whole world. That's fine. Hey, I appreciate it. Alabama needs all the support they can get. But there's also a lot of you, like myself, who's just a massive fan of college football. I don't care who's playing. Like I joked about yesterday on the show, just about the most entertaining football I watched all weekend was the fourth quarter of the Louisiana Tech Florida International game late Saturday night. So I just love college football. So it was interesting to me to kind of go over Middle Tennessee season and learn a few things about it, because what a strange season where they started out pretty bad. They got just waxed by James Madison. And a lot of people are like, who? Well, James Madison was their first year of playing FBS football coming from FCS. They're good. They were ranked in the top 25 at one point last season and did well in the metrics too. But James Madison just whacked Middle Tennessee. So, but then week two, they found themselves, won a road game at Colorado State. That's not too easy for a group of five win. And then shocker of shockers, the height of their season, no doubt most of you know about this. They go to Coral Gables and shock the Miami Hurricanes at Miami. So this team just last year beats Miami at Miami. But they could not handle the prosperity. That's almost the fun part as an outsider looking at their season. Immediately after beating Miami, one of their great wins in program history, they crash. They don't play well at all. They get whacked by UAB. And as we know, sometimes UAB is good, but they were not good last year. And they got whacked by UAB, and they sort of went in the toilet. But then late in the season, here they come again. They win 3 conference games in a row to close out the season, including a road win at Florida Atlantic, who's okay, and qualify at 7-5 to make a bowl. And they go to the fun Hawaii Bowl. The fans had to love that, by the way. If you're Middle Tennessee and you're a group of 5 and you get invited to play in the Hawaii Bowl, that's like a home run, right? So they go to Hawaii where they play another team that has seen their moments in the top 25, San Diego State. And there they get their second biggest win of the year. So beat Miami on the road. They beat San Diego State in the bowl game. But they also have lows. They lose to a bad Louisiana Tech team. They lose to a bad UAB team. So they were really all over the map last season, clearly capable of good things and clearly capable of playing poorly. Where they ended up ranked, I think, is exactly what they are. They ended up ranked, Luke, I think they were 99th in strength of record, which I put a lot of faith in terms of telling you how good a team is, your strength of record, how you've done against the teams you play versus how an average team would have done based on the teams you play. They were 99th. That doesn't sound great, but what that does, Luke, is it puts them dead in the middle of group of 5 schools. For a G5 school, that's dead in the middle because they got about 30 schools behind them and 30 schools in front of them in terms of where the group of 5 lays and the strength of record ranking. So this is a mid G5 team. That means they're not terrible, but they're not really good. Capable, very capable. That's why they beat Miami. That's how they beat San Diego State. But also not great. That's how they can lose to UAB and Louisiana Tech and come into this game as something like 38-point underdog. What else I learned about them? Their quarterback, Vettiati. That's fun to say. Vettiati. He was, as a freshman, Conference USA All-Freshman, MVP of the Bahamas Bowl 2 years ago. But then he got benched. They played another kid last year. That kid got hurt. Vettiati came back in, quarterbacked a couple games, had a real good game in a win against Charlotte, who's not a terrible team. So Vettiati, he's a thrower. He's not a runner. So keep that in mind. I think a lot of people think of Middle Tennessee as a team that's kind of a dual threat guy. This guy's a thrower. They're going to get the ball out fast. They're going to kind of spread it out and throw it a lot. I'm anticipating lots and lots of quick, short throws. They're going to kind of run the ball with the pass game. It's going to be short and quick. Don't be frustrated if Alabama doesn't have a lot of sacks Saturday. They're not going to give us the opportunity to hit Vettiati. He's going to get the snap and he's going to throw the ball immediately, either on slants, out in the flats, behind the line of scrimmage. A lot of short, quick throws. They're a little better offensively than defensively. A couple of fun facts about them. Their head coach is Rick Stockstill. He's been there forever. The quarterback coach is Brent Stockstill, who's his son, who was the quarterback of Middle Tennessee the last time we played them. And now that guy's their QB coach, the son of the head coach. They have a linebacker who's in the regular playing rotation, but not a starter, Thomas Ram, former Alabama defensive lineman. His son, Jalen Ram, I believe, is a linebacker at Middle Tennessee. So they have a Bama legacy over there. He played at Thompson High School, as a significant player at Thompson. So that's interesting. They're punters from the state of Alabama. And that's just about all I got. A starting offensive lineman's from Montgomery. There you go.
That's a lot of MTSU info, though. When you say that's all you got, I mean, that's a lot. You know, Thomas Ram, just really quickly before we go to break. Thomas Ram, of course, is the one that blocked the field goal against Penn State in 1989. It was really an incredible moment. At the time, it was like an incredible moment in Bama history. They actually did a Daniel Moore print about it. People may have forgotten that. But the funny story about that was Penn State was driving to kick a field goal to win it. They get down to like the 1-inch line where Blair, what was his name? Blair Thomas. He like his shoulder hits down at like the 1-inch line, something crazy. I mean, he practically scored, but they put it down and then they had their kicker go out there and Ram blocks it. But we were watching the game at a friend's house and my mom was with us and she got in the car because, you know, she was like, well, they're not scoring. It's like every time she was in the car, for some reason, they didn't score. So we were like, get in the car. So she went out in the car. She didn't get to see it live. She just listened to it on the radio because we were like, every time you're in the car, they don't score. Like the few times she was in, like she had to drive a few places or something. And so she can't, you know, she comes out of the car after we win. She's like, can I see it? At the time, we didn't have like rewind. You know, you had to like record it and then rewind it. And so she didn't actually get to see the play until the highlights much later on. But anyway, that's some Alabama superstition crap. I know a bunch of you also are down with that. Let me tell you something I am down with, and that's getting help when you need it. I'm telling you, Betterhelp, absolutely awesome. This show, Locked on Bama, is sponsored by Betterhelp. This episode is brought to you by Betterhelp. We love them so much. They bring such an important service to everybody out there. They are there for you. They want to help you. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. That is so crucial. As a guy who has been through therapy in the past and still currently going to therapy, it is very important to try and find somebody that can work with you on your schedule. And it's very tough to do. It's great to have that one-on-one interaction in person, certainly. But if that person can't meet you on your schedule, it doesn't help. And really, when you work with BetterHelp, it's like they're right there with you. And it also makes you more comfortable knowing that they're working with you on your schedule. That is what's crucial, because you need to be in the right mindset to go to therapy. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist at any time for no additional charge. So if you aren't clicking with a therapist that you match up with, you can switch at any time, and there's no charge for that. I can't tell you how much that helps you, because that's one of the things about therapy to me is, people look at it like, well, is it going to cost something? Yes, it can cost money. Okay. But if you have the wrong person, it even costs you more, because you have to go find somebody else, and you feel like you've sort of thrown some of that money away. And then you may already have some kind of financial commitment to them. But with BetterHelp, it's not that way. You can switch like no problem at all. That's huge. And it sort of relieves you of probably one of the things that's stressing you out. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. I'm telling you, these folks are here to help you. And this is just a tremendous service. And I'm so proud that we are offering them, or that they are sponsoring with us, I should say. So I'm so proud we're offering you this opportunity to hook up with BetterHelp, because I'm telling you, I'm not lying. Why would I lie about this? I've been to therapy, and it's something that's been important to me and helped me a lot. So I would highly recommend checking out BetterHelp. Jimmy, as the week goes on, we will continue to talk about Middle Tennessee State, but, really obviously focus more on us. I mean, as Nick Saban has always said, we focus on us and then let the rough end drag when we get out there on the game. That's not verbatim, but that is sort of what he says. Depth chart predictions. Your main man, Clint Lamb, over at On3, also had some depth chart predictions. And look, we could take up a whole nother show if we wanted to talk about offensive depth chart and just talk about quarterback again. But I think we'll start with defense. These are his predictions. First of all, at Mike linebacker, starter will be Deontay Lawson. Well, duh. The backup is Tresman Marshall. Okay. And then the depth, he has 3 categories. The depth is Kendrick Blackshire. Now, and look, I'm happy about that. But man, I just wish there were a way we could get Kendrick Blackshire on the field more, just for the intimidation factor.
Yeah. He's one of the few old school. I mean, most of our inside linebackers these days are very modern by that. I mean, they're rangy, they're athletic, they're good in coverage. They do a lot of safety things. We grew up, Luke, in an era where the middle linebacker was the fullback of the defense, and a big part of a football game was a fullback and a Mike slamming into each other about 55 times in a game. That's sort of how we viewed middle linebacker in the old days. Well, Blackshire is a little bit of a throwback in that way. He's a thumper, as they used to call him. He just plays in the tackle box and roams around and just destroys bogeys in the run game. Today's inside linebacker, though, is rangy and athletic and just as soon drop into coverage as make a tackle in the run game. And Alabama's blessed with both, but Blackshire is one of those guys. I think why me and you and others are so drawn to him, Luke, is this kind of middle linebacker we grew up with, and it's hard to let go of that. So, but he's just not near the first team like Lawson and Trez, and where me and Clint share the same brain, a lot of the same info. I think what we're going to have really at inside linebacker, to me, Luke, is more of a 3-man rotation between Deontay Lawson, Trez Marshall, and Jihad Campbell. I think those 3 play a ton at Mike and Will, and maybe we see some of Justin Jefferson, and maybe we see some of Sean Murphy, and maybe we see even some of Blackshire. But I really think the main players with the starters, Lawson at Mike, Jihad Campbell at Will, and Trez Marshall, the transfer from Georgia, just sort of filling in for Deontay and filling in for Campbell, almost like a 3-man rotation there.
Yeah, because at will linebacker, he says the starter will be Trez Marshall or Jihad Campbell, and then backup is Sean Murphy or Justin Jefferson. Then depth is Ian Jackson. The only thing about saying on starters when you're like, it's going to be this guy or this guy, and then the backup is this guy or this guy, really, you got to move that second tier down because the or is going to take the place of the second guy. I've never understood why people do. They're like, for instance, at running back, if you say starter is Jason McClellan or Roydell Williams, backup is Justice Haynes or Jam Miller. Well, what you're really saying is the starter is going to be, let's call it Jace. Backup is going to be Roydell. Third is going to be Justice, and fourth is going to be Jam. Now, I mean, mix them up how you want to, but that's what I'm saying.
You're making such a good point. It's such a good point. And you just sort of taught me into something that I may start doing this on BOL because this makes all the sense in the world to me. And it's one of the reasons we're not getting a depth chart today from Nick Saban. We got a depth chart on Monday forever and ever and ever. We're not getting one because he's mad about how the media talks about it and even how the fans talk about it. And this is why, because I think we've been doing the depth chart wrong all these years. And this is how it should be. It should be 3 categories. Here's the dudes that play with the ones. Here's the guys that will play with the starters. When the game is in doubt and we don't know who's going to win, and we're playing Middle Tennessee or LSU, these are the dudes you're going to see on the field. And I would list at middle linebacker or inside linebacker, Lawson, Trez Marshall, and Jihad Campbell. And that's it. That's it. That's who I think is going to play. Then the second category is these are the guys that are going to play when the game's over. When the game's decided and it's garbage time and we've emptied the bench, these guys are going to play. And I would put in Justin Jefferson and Sean Murphy and Kendrick Blackshire. And then the third category is these are the guys that are on the team, but you're not going to see them play. They're either redshirting or they're sort of buried. And right now I would just say at inside linebacker, that's only really Ian Jackson. Okay, so that's everybody that's on scholarship there, that position, all 7 guys. But that's really how the depth chart should be, right, Luke? I mean, here's the guys you're going to see play. Then secondly, here's the guys that are going to play when the game's over and it's been decided and it's garbage time. And then thirdly, here are the guys that are still on the team on scholarship, but they're either going to redshirt or maybe you'll see them on special teams. So they're not really going to play defense in the games. Does that make sense?
I think that's absolutely right. And look, we'll still talk about the depth chart as we go, but we sort of went a little too far with the linebackers. And so, I don't really have time to get into them. So that's what we do.
We need to do a 4-hour show this week.
Yeah,
we'll do a 4-hour show, but we'll just do like a half hour a day.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Okay, now I need to tell everybody about FanDuel. You know how much we love FanDuel over here. We've always loved FanDuel. We thank them so much for being a sponsor. They are absolutely fantastic. You want to get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. All customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Holy cow, that's huge. I'm doing that right now. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Go check them out ASAP. FanDuel. All right, Jimmy, statistical leader predictions. This was kind of interesting. And, I have something else I kind of want to talk about, so we'll zip through this. But I just think this is really cool to sort of put it out there and just say, hey, where do you think this will go with these particular guys? Because there's so many unknowns on Alabama's offense. So on passing, this was by Charlie Potter. He said Jalen Milroe's 2023 stats. The 2023 stats.
It's a prediction.
Yeah, he said this is kind of bothering me. Is this right? He says the 2023 stats will be 58% completion rate, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 297 yards. That can't be right.
Well, that means that, if that's what his prediction is for the season, then he's got Jalen Milroe not being the starting quarterback for most of the season. I take it, because the starting quarterback would not have those stats except at playing maybe one start and a handful of garbage time sort of stuff, because that's not season long stats.
Okay, then he talks about running back, but I just find that weird. Okay, he's got to think that, but there's like if you. I just don't get that. I don't. That doesn't make any sense to me. But he's a great writer.
If they struggle with finding a quarterback, put it this way: what happens? And this is possible. And I'm not saying Charlie.
But he's saying that's going to be our leader, Jimmy. He's saying that's going to be the passing leader. That has to be a typo.
It means all four guys are going to play equally.
No, but Jimmy,
all four guys are going to play equally, and no one will pass for more than 300 yards.
That means we only have 1,200 yards passing on the season.
Well, we're going to run the damn ball, aren't we?
We're going to. I mean,
I don't know.
The Huskers have 95 through 4 more.
I don't know. That's a new thing that just came out last night. I've not read it yet, but Potter's a pretty smart dude. Could be a typo though. Could be, but he's a pretty smart guy. I will say, a lot of people think Jalen Milroe is going to start out the season as a quarterback and then be replaced. But like you said, you would think whoever replaces him would end up with more than 300 yards. So I don't know. We'll report back tomorrow with an interpretation of what could be going on over there. But who's going to lead the team in passing? My prediction is Ty Simpson. My prediction is Ty Simpson, and I'm going to predict Ty throws for roughly 2,000 yards. Just based on the fact that I don't think he'll be the starting quarterback in 15 games. I think Ty Simpson will be the starting quarterback at Alabama, and he's going to be the starter in about 7 games, and he's going to play in the others. But I think he'll end up starting 7 or 8 games. I think it might take that long before he becomes the starter, but that's what my prediction is today. Ty Simpson becomes the starter at some point and then becomes the leading passer. That's what I'm predicting, but I'm open to Milroe being the quarterback all year. Very possible. I'm open to Lonergan winning the job mid-season. I'm open to Tyler Buckner being the best chance we have to win games, and they go with him maybe as soon as game 2 against Texas. I think all of those things are possibilities as we stand here today, but my guess is Ty Simpson as the quarterback.
Okay. I'm still blown away by this. Bryce Young had 3,300 passing yards last year. I know we don't have Bryce Young on the roster anymore, but he missed a game and a half, and this has to be a misprint. And again, that's the beauty of doing live radio on a taped podcast.
Maybe he left out the one, or like I said, I mean, anything could happen. Anything could happen. I just laid out what I think is going to happen, and then laid out 4 other possibilities because any of them are possible. I don't want to say emphatically this won't happen or this won't happen. I don't know. Anybody out there that thinks they know, you don't, because there's no way to know what's going to happen other than I am nearly certain Jalen Milroe is going to start the Middle Tennessee game. I'll also say that if you're an Alabama fan wanting the best possible season, this is what you should hope for, that Milroe starts the Middle Tennessee game and they never take him out because he's so good. I mean, any other scenario is less rosy than that, right? If Milroe's got to be replaced, something kind of went sideways. So the hope is Milroe starts and he's the quarterback all season long, and all the other quarterbacks shrug and transfer. I mean that's almost like the best case scenario, right? Now, one thing about that though, a lot of them won't transfer because it's hard to imagine this because he's barely played much. But Milroe's draft eligible at the end of this season.
Yeah, he certainly is. Well, we don't have time to get into the other statistical predictions because I'm so blown away by the quarterback one that you've got to get to the bottom of this. I'm sorry. Like that makes no sense.
Well, I've got a meeting with Charlie very shortly.
All right. That's going to do it for today's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide, beat MTSU.